this is something that you have to learn here. You really do. You have to be able to hear the difference between when, like, okay, you got your kick drum, and then
this is Ross Hogarth talking about kick drum. You're going live on the internet.
Like, the difference between something that's in phase and out of phase is sort of where you hear the air. So on the kick drum, you want to be able to hear the low end stay extended. So sometimes a microphone, because there's really no absolute phase. There really is. Right. I mean, there's nothing called absolute phase when it comes to drums. Right. There's just right and wrong almost. Like, and so say I take that mono room mic, and it's just kick and that mono room, and he's going boom, you know, boom, blah, boom. But I'm really just listening to the kick drum because that's the only mic in play. Kick drum and that mono room, boom, blah, boom, blah, and I'm hearing the kick drum kind of go boom, boom. I flop the phase, and the kick drum might now go boom, 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 right, boom, boom, boom. Okay. You might like the sound of that little upper 300 kick drum, but it's out of phase. It's calm. It might give you initially more like boom, but it's actually out of phase because when you get into it and you hear the air, like say then you go to the snare, crack, crack, crack. Now you flop the phase, it might go boom, 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 crack, boom. You know, and the only way I can kind of show you would be with plugins, but plugins aren't really going to give you the real picture. But I'll try to do it real quick with, like say, simple filter bank, whatever. I was looking for the Digi. Where's the EQ one band right here?
Yep.
Okay. So
you're doing with microphones by moving the mics, and now you're just trying to show us in a plug-in kind of how that would work. But
well, I'm not going to do it. I've already measured my microphones. Okay. I'm just doing it by flopping the phase on my mic pre.
Okay.
And listening in, out, in, out. And so this is going to be him playing a song, so it's a little different because now that's why I only do the same. It's just boom, flap. It says boom, ba, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, da, da, da. If you have your drummer going nuts, it's really hard to check phase. It's really easy if he's doing the same, ba, boom, ba, in, out, in, out. You really hear it change. This is a little harder, but this is what I would do to try to show you, like, here's... say, oh, I like it better out of phase because it's maybe more like home, but the bottom end isn't as extended. Right. So I'm looking for the lower octave. If it was just those two microphones, maybe I might, on that one drum sound, go for that mic out of phase. But I want to keep that mic as in phase as it can be. So show you. It's very subtle until it's not subtle. To me, it's not subtle. To you guys, it might be subtle.
It's like a feel thing.
It's a feel thing. On the out of phase, it's going in phase, it's going
So you're basically thinking about like 75 and 150 hertz or something. Kind of that's what you're focusing on as you're zooming in with your ears. And
right.
Just now, let me fix it there because that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, now let's do the same thing with the snare without the kick drum in. Okay. Out of phase, it's taking the ring away.
Yeah.
Okay? It might be adding more beef by filtering out the top, but it's taking the ring away.
might use a parametric, like finding the bad frequency and then reversing it, more or less
No, I'm not at all. I'm just saying I want to record my microphones as in phase as I possibly can.
Okay.
So I don't have to try to EQ out frequencies that phase then brings.
Okay.
Phase anomalies will then make me want to EQ out frequencies that the phase anomalies are bringing in. So just you only listen to two microphones, but between those two microphones there is a phase relationship. And you can hear with one phase relationship it makes the snare sound honkier, and with the other phase relationship it sounds more open. So I want to do that to all my microphones. I want to find the best phase relationship between all the microphones. And that's all I'm doing in building this multi-microphone situation. And I have to do that meticulously. Kick and mono. Snare and mono. Kick and stereo. Snare and stereo. Stereo to mono.
So do you sit in here and have somebody move mics?
No, I'm not moving microphones at all.
You're just doing it by the...
If I don't like the sound of a microphone, I'll move it. But if I actually like the sound of the microphone, and then its relationship to itself, but these two mics are going to be pretty much in phase. That's why they're doing that.
Right, exactly.
These two microphones are the same distance from the snare. They're probably going to be in phase to themselves if the electronics are okay. This mic is the same distance from here. This mic is the same distance to here. This mic is the same distance to here. Now all those are measured. This mic from the kick drum is the same distance to here. This mic is the same distance to here. This mic is the same distance to here. Before I even listen, I've done all of that.
Done all that measuring.
My toms. I don't mic my floor tom from here if I'm going to mic my rack tom from there.
Right.
Pretty much you're going to bring in some kind of phase. If this mic is phasing that mic,
Right.
who's going to be in phase? So I want to move this mic around to here. So that mic is micing the floor tom there. That mic's the floor tom here. That mic's the rack tom here. Do I want this mic going like this? No. No, I want those mics. That's why, so I spend a lot of time positioning my shit before I even listen.
Do you keep in mind at all 3-in-1 rule when you're setting up or not?
You have to. With this overhead, like if these mics are too, so I'm like measuring. It's not really much a 3-to-1 rule. It's just more like
Everybody's equal?
Yeah.
Kind of everybody's equal?
Yeah. And if those are too close in, they're not really doing the job. They need to widen out a little bit because that's going to be looking down here. And so
when you discover that something's not right, you've already moved the mics, you've already got them set up.
and if
What
I
do you
can't
actually
flop
do
the
to
phase
dial
here
in?
and make it work, then I'll have to move the microphone.
Okay.
By that, do you mean the phase switch on the mic pre?
Yeah, just flop the phase on the
Flop the
microphone.
phase.
Yeah. I will never go in and shift my drum, like nudging shit.
Oh.
And
That's the most craziest thing on earth.
will you ever dial phase in, like radial phaser style?
Only on bass, guitars, acoustic guitar, multi-micing, but not on drums. Just do any microphone. It's just you'd have to have one on every channel. And boy, now you're really opening up a can of worms. Yeah. And in all my years of recording, before all these tools were in our hands, it's like we made great recordings.
Right.
Bass was always the one that like we used actually a delay. Like I've been recording through a delay on my trying to get the amp and the DI phase, from the earliest recordings going into a PCM 42 or something. So when Little Labs came out, now the phaser, those are awesome on bass because now you can actually put the amp in phase with the because you're only dealing with two instruments per se. With drums you've got all these, and then people that go, I move my overheads to line up with the. Oh, I'm glad that your waveforms sound good. I'm glad that you really like the way your waveforms look. I mix all my records by how my waveforms look.
Do you have a preferred bass amp microphone?
Bass amp microphone.
Or do you normally just pick a DI?
No, I do. I like Fet 47. I like the Mojave 200 or 201. I like RE20. I like a nice tube mic. Farther back is the old school Beatles. I mean those things were recorded like 10, 12 feet back.